A koala bear framed my son for murder. I was standing in the kitchen, waiting for my homemade Starbucks coffee to finish brewing, when there was a knock at the door. Bang, bang, bang. I opened it up to see two police officers standing there looking as serious as ever. Your son Mitch's fingerprints are all over the knife that killed his roommate. My brain couldn't process what I was hearing. My son's roommate? Dead? That's impossible, I said, but my voice came out as a whisper. The detective held up a forensic report. Ma'am, your son discovered the body at 4 a.m. He called 911 himself. He's at the station now. He pointed to a photo on his phone. They showed fingerprints on a bloody kitchen knife. These are Mitch's fingerprints. I'm sorry. All we need from you is your cooperation. Your son is looking at life in prison. The words bounced around my skull as I threw on clothes and drove to the police station. How could fingerprints lie? They don't lie. That's the whole point of fingerprints. When they brought Mitch to the visiting room and I saw him, he looked destroyed. His face was puffy from crying, his hands shaking. Mom, I never touched that knife. I promise. I didn't do it. I wanted to believe him so badly it physically hurt, but the evidence was right there. It was a perfect fingerprint match. The detective had been very clear about that. And on paper, my son seemed like a suspect. Mitch and his roommate had argued about rent money the night before. The neighbors heard them shouting, and Mitch had no alibi for where he'd been when his roommate was unalived. When the detectives left us alone in the waiting room to grab something, my son smiled weakly. At least there's bail, he said, trying to lighten the mood. But when I saw the amount bail was set at, I felt like someone had punched me in the stomach. The bail was set at $500,000. I had maybe $3,000 in savings. Our pro bono, a tired-looking woman named Janet, met with us the next day. The fingerprints are solid evidence, she said, shuffling papers. We should consider taking a plea deal where your son confesses. He'll get less time. Mitch slammed his hand on the metal table. I'm not pleading guilty to something I didn't do. I didn't say a word. How do you fight fingerprints? How do you argue with science? A few more weeks passed. I visited Mitch at the detention center as much as I could. He was just a lanky 24-year-old. He wasn't built for prison. Every day he got thinner, quieter. The confident boy who used to make me laugh was disappearing. During one visit, he started tearing up. It was the first time I'd seen him cry since he was a baby. Mom, those are my fingerprints. I know they are, but I never touched that knife. I don't understand what's happening. I didn't know what to say, because neither did I. And the trial was coming soon. The prosecution had everything. Motive, opportunity, and those damned fingerprints. I kept asking Mitch the same question. Just tell me how your prints got there. There has to be an explanation. I don't know, he'd shout. Mom, I don't know. The night before the trial, I couldn't sleep. I went into Mitch's room to grab him a suit for court and started cleaning, needing to do something with my hands. That's when I found the photos on his desk. They were from his volunteering at the zoo the day before his roommate died. There was Mitch, holding a koala. The animal's little hands were wrapped completely around his fingers, gripping tight. I thought of some random documentary I'd seen years ago. My hands were shaking as I typed into Google, koala fingerprints human crime scene. The first result made me stop breathing. Koalas have fingerprints identical to humans, so similar they've confused crime scene investigators. My heart fluttered with hope for the first time in months. I called our lawyer Janet immediately, not even caring that it was 11 p.m. at night. She picked up on the third ring. Hello? You need to test if the prints are actually human. She thought I'd lost my mind. What? Koalas have the same fingerprints as humans. Mitch was holding one the day before the unaliving. Please, just test them. I guess I sounded pretty desperate because somehow she agreed. The forensics expert they brought in the next morning looked like he thought I was crazy, until he put the prints under analysis. His face changed completely. These prints, the ridge patterns match your son, but the pressure points are all wrong. He looked up at us. These aren't from a human grip. My legs nearly gave out. Turns out the knife came from a store called Knives Galore, beside the zoo. And the store had a promotional event that featured a live koala from the zoo, the same koala that gripped my son's hand. That's how the same fingerprints from my son were also on the knife. The real killer had worn gloves. Turns out it was the roommate's ex-girlfriend who'd been stalking him for months. I hope damn koala bears go extinct soon.